flexibilities will the UW La Crosse have as a result of the budget bill, and how will these affect the university's operation?
Well, I'd be silly to say that I would know all the action that crosses Mr. Gao's desk, and for me to take over his job and suggest what changes could be made, I think would be totally wrong. And I would think that he must have counselors himself, that he probably doesn't make all the decisions himself. So, and he's nodding a bit with that, and I would be surprised if not. I mean, any good administrator has good advisors. Sometimes there are people and things that you like to hear, other times not. But I gather from talking to him that he will listen. And I would be happy to participate in that, but to suggest that I would know what programs are good or bad, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there.
Thank you. Jill?
Could you repeat the question, please?
This has to do with greater flexibilities for DW's system, which was part of the state budget. As a result of the greater flexibilities, result of the budget, how will these affect UW La Crosse?
I guess I'm not aware of any flexibilities that were included in the budget, so I can't comment.
Chancellor Gower, do you want to just mention a couple of them?
Well, I mean, there are so-called flexibilities in the pay plan and in human resource policies and in procurement. Frankly, I'd like to see us have the flexibility to have the responsibility to be able to determine tuition, because that's now capped in the budget, and I don't think legislators should be in the business of determining what the tuition should be, particularly when they're cutting massive amounts of money from our state funding. That might be something you might want to comment on, how you would solve that issue.
I think we can turn that into a question. Tuition flexibility.
I would say welcome to my world. And county government has been set with caps for years and less shared revenue, but we're still expected to provide services that are mandated by the state. And so what we've done is the best we can under the circumstances, and I give a lot of credit to our staff. They're searching in different states throughout the nation for better ways of doing programming, of more cost-effective ways of doing things. And it's tough, and each year it gets tougher. But we have to, work creatively, and I swear our administrator and staff pulls a rabbit out of the hat every year. I don't know how much longer they'll be able to do it. And we've had to make some tough decisions. I've had to vote on the Health and Human Services Board to cut some programs and to lay off some people, and those are hard decisions to make.
Well, if you were a legislator and you'd win this seat, and there's a bill that says we want to cap tuition at X amount, and we want to cut, over $250 million at the same time from the system, what would your vote be?
So there's a cap on tuition and cutting $250,000.
What I've described is exactly the budget right now.
I would say I'm going to choose option 3, and that is to find other sources of revenue. I think that already, if we just fund our Department of Revenue, there's $1.2 billion in taxes that go uncollected every year. That's 1 in every $10. And I think if we fully staff that department so we have more auditors, more collectors, if we simplify our tax system, if we make maybe e-payment easier, I think that we can already collect more that is rightfully already due the state of Wisconsin. Most people do pay their taxes and are good in that way. But there's still more to be collected out there. So I would choose option 3.
I caught option 3, but what were the other 2 again, if you would please?
Well, the budget cuts $250 million. This is even before the lap, and then it caps tuition at 5.5%.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get a sense of if you think that's a wise approach. Would you have voted for that budget or against it?
Option 3 of asking for more taxes is certainly the last thing. I would not go that route. Now, whether you would have the flexibility to put tuition according to your needs. I guess if it stays within the overall budget that's is approved by the legislature, that certainly should be considered. Those are very tough decisions. I guess you could say that there's a lot of people that say we ought to user fees. In a way, tuition is a user fee. And I guess, much as you students don't want to hear, what he's saying is that it's one of those things that you don't see any way around. There's just never going to be a reduction of tuition, and holding it at 5.5% is a problem for him. I think he's very honorable speaking the truth, and I can't help but say, treat it as a user fee, but whatever the legislature can find out of that pie to assist, certainly by all means. The other thing is, I think that there is a change that needs to be looked at the whole educational system. And while I know it's very competitive to get into certain classes here at the university, maybe that some of the students would be better off owning a business and not necessarily looking for a doctorate or a professional standing. And there may be some other ways to divide up those assets to make us a productive society. I constantly hear that we need skilled workers. Make that honorable. There's nothing wrong with a great construction owner or a machine shop owner or whatever, and having skilled employees. They make good money, good benefits, and so maybe if you can look at the total picture of the educational system, there is a way to hold the costs, but keep a very honorable university.
Next question goes to Jill Billings.